Welcome back to my channel. Now in the last one of these It's All Greek to Me series, I looked at this Ertl kit, which actually is an old IMAI Reeboks. And it's a Greek warship. It's a lovely kit, 1 to 50 scale, builds up beautifully. I've already done a complete dry fit of it and we had a good look at everything and I was quite impressed. This time we're moving on to the second kit that I need to review, and that is the Heller Bireme Imperator. Yeah, this kit is very impressive, but it's got a few drawbacks. I'll show you all of that in this video. I'll go through all the parts, we'll do a dry fit, and we'll also compare it to the Zvezda Greek Trireme, or Trireme, as they like to say it. Triera? I don't know. It's a trireme, come on. And we'll put all three back to back and see what we've got. And then I can give you a good idea of what you get from these three different manufacturers producing three different versions of a similar period sort of ship. Sound exciting? Yes, I think so. Okay, roll music. If you enjoy watching my videos, then please subscribe to my channel. That'd be wonderful. Okay, you can like this video, that's really good. By all means comment, just be respectful about it. And if you want to support me financially, which really helps keeps this channel going and me providing these sort of videos, then you can join Patreon and YouTube members, or you can even hit that super thanks and give me a one-time donation. It all helps so I can produce these videos. Let's have a quick look now at the Bireme, which is the Heller kit. So again, we've gone to something completely different. IMAI, I believe, is Japanese. Correct me if I'm wrong. Heller is French. Okay, so let's have a look. And again, slightly different scale, but a kit that's not a lot bigger. Now, here, sails, pretty awful. They're vac form, they're discoloured, they're cracked, there's bugger all detail on them. Yeah, I wouldn't be using those. We can throw those away. Certainly won't touch those. Look at the instructions in a sec. Just have a quick look through. Now, being a Heller kit, some things will be good. The deck detail, planking, is rather nice. That's a little bit finer than the other one, so that's quite good. And it's the Heller black plastic, which is always a bugger on camera. It is so hard to show you stuff. The ship itself is rather nice, and it is just that bit bigger. I mean, smaller scale, but it's a much bigger ship. I mean, it really should be probably twice the size, but I think it's about 1.5 times the size. We'll see when I do a dry fit. So you might be able to see there, that is the detail. It's always hard when it's black plastic. It is a bugger to show on camera. But you can see Heller has put a lot of detail in. Some people think Heller is over-exaggerated, especially when they do their wood planking, okay, because that is really pronounced. But you get a couple of layers of paint on that. It'll pick up a wash. It'll look very nice. So not much to show there. Let's look at the tail. I love these fish tails that these ancient ships had. They're rather nice. So yeah. So there is detail on there. I'm sorry, it is really hard to show black plastic on camera. I could probably do it with some stills, but yeah, you're always sort of suffering that problem if you have to overlight it. There we go. Now everything's in a bag, which is good. So it's the same sort of stuff as you saw in the other kit, although I've had a good look in here and it's not as flashy, which is, you know, Heller can be flashy, but not in this case. So annoying part, as Heller does with a lot of their ships, the masts are in two halves. I think their logic is that you basically put some rods inside of there to give them some strength. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Or the fact that moulding them in halves and then gluing them together gives it strength, because, you know, as you do with metal, you drill holes into it. It's actually stronger than a solid bit of metal by itself. So it's that sort of structural trick. No flash at all on the Heller oars, so we'll have no trouble putting them on. Look how many there are. There's stacks and stacks and stacks. Similar sort of thing, you've got the these little areas here, which is where the oarsmen are going to sit on, and that's where they sort of row the boat. Here we have the foredeck, like in the other kit, and again lots of detail, and you'll even see there's a loop of rope there moulded on the deck. I'm not usually a fan of that. I usually sort of rip that off, but if I did that here, I'd have a lot of trouble with all the other detail that I'd have to rescribe, so I might just have to live with that. And then this would be for the stern section. That's that piece, okay. We'd probably call it a poop deck, but it's not really, not in these sort of ships. No flash, nice clean kit. Again, you get all the blocks are there, everything's there. You got a little ladder, you got the seat that the owner sits in, again, not a captain, apparently. And these round shields have some detail on them. Again, black on black. Very hard to see. I don't know if you can see that there. They've all got a similar sort of sunburst or sort of star pattern on them. And that's about all we've got there. So that's interesting. Again, you're getting the railings. So there's your railings. Same sort of thing. You've got your steering oars. And you have, this time, luckily, because those sails are rubbish, you have separate yards. So the yards are apart in themselves here. So that means I can put cloth sails on this without too much trouble. It really lends itself to it. So there's the bowsprit sail, right, the foresail, and that's the main sail. Basically will go off that. So that's the, the yard for the bowsprit. So that's all quite good, and you've got a lovely standard here, and it is a very Roman standard with their eagle on. And here's Heller's anchor. As you can see, it's very different shape to the one in the Erdl kit. So that to me looks more like an ancient sort of anchor. So we'll just have to see. If so, if I find that is correct and the one in the Erdl kit or the MA kit is wrong, I'll just make one of these or even cast one of these and make my own version. So that's good. So really, those are the parts. There's not a lot to it. There's not really much to these ships. Let's have a look at the instructions. So let's have a look at these Heller instructions. And interestingly, these are an English version, which is, rather interesting. The actual byline at the bottom here has got NY, I assume is New York. So product of Canada. Oh, there you go. It's a Heller kit. I see Aurora. That's the thing. Aurora's had a hand in this. So like the MA kit was distributed by Erdl and reboxed, this Heller kit has been distributed by Aurora. So in that case, it's for an American market, and things are in English. Because, surprise, surprise, unlike just about every other Heller kit that you get, the instructions are all in English. So you get a full history there telling you what to do, and then there's some do's and don'ts. Don't start war with the Carthaginians, stay away from the Persians, all those sort of things. There's a lot more going on to build this kit compared to the MA Penteconter, because you've got 2 rows of oars. So there's a lot more things that you have to add in here, because you're going to have 2 sets of seats, where the rowers are going to sit, and you have to set up for a lot more oars. So as you can see, it's quite detailed in that. But it's not a lot to do. It really won't be that hard. Sort of thing with just a bit of patience, and away you'll go. The instructions are very good in that they give you the colour. Like it says, dark wood, light wood. Very good. It's all very clear. And that little piece there, which I thought sort of sat at the end like the poop deck, is actually an internal piece, because I wondered why it had a door in it. So that actually sits straight up and down, goes in the end there. So there you go. So you're assembling together the hull halves, building the stand. You don't get lines this time. Their stand is like a traditional sort of stand. Those are all the cleats that go on the deck. There's all little fittings. They're all very nice. We know, we've looked at them. There's no flash. Their blocks are more like what I expect blocks to look at from this period. I wouldn't expect dead eyes and blocks to be round the way they were in, basically the 17th, 18th, 19th century sailing ships. Back this time, they would be these truncated triangles and sort of squares or rectangles, okay? And that's what they've got. They would be blocks, would have been basically a block shape. And that's sort of the thing. The MA kit is a little fanciful in having actual dead eyes. I'll have to do some more research on that, but I don't believe actual dead eyes, round ones, were happening on the Greek warships. I think this is far more accurate. But if you know what blocks were used, let me know. That'd save me some research. So again, there it all is, and it's sort of the same assembly as the other one. The difference is we're going to have a lot more oars. So What have we got here? These are rudders. We didn't really talk about these before, but these ships have two rudders usually, one on either side, okay, right, the stern, and there's someone in the middle that holds and basically pushes them. So we're starting to get into some of the rigging here, and they're suggesting to put some more of the lines in, which is good. It's sort of, you really need to rig as you go, because basically as you're assembling stuff, the only way it sits where it's going to sit is because some lines are going to hold things in place. So a bit different to the way you do sort of other ships, you know, the sort of this age of sail ones, the ones we know from Europe. So again, here's these sort of strange shaped blocks, which I think are actually correct. They're probably more like the real thing. I will do my research, or I will listen to your comments. And again, you'll have a whole pulley system here for lifting the yards here for the mainsail. And yeah, it's good. Everything's applied, so that's quite good. Just follow the bouncing ball. You're rigging as you're going here, which is rather good. So by the time you get into this sort of stage where they say to put on the rails and the shields, well, you've pretty well rigged the ship. They've got all that out the way, which is good, because then you won't be fighting the rigging. You won't be fighting with all these fittings, all these shields, trying to get your rigging in. So that's well thought out. That's rather clever, Aurora Heller. And then there's just some final sort of tying off, some sheet lines and that sort of thing. And then look, you don't put your oars in right until the end. So you've got it on the stand, put it in. Look at this, they say, put a 1-inch book and then place your oars in, and that'll give you the correct angle. Isn't it good advice? And that's all there is to it. So there's not a lot. So it's a nice kit, and it's probably a nicer kit than the IMAI one, but it is a Bireme, so twice as much fun. Okay, if you want to know what the Trireme from Zvezda looks like, then please go to the link that I supplied earlier, or there might be another one up here, and you can have a good look at that. What we're going to do now is quick dry fit, see how all three look side by side. So here we have all three dry fit as best as I can do. The Zvezda kit is very soft plastic, and it's probably the worst fitting one, and I sort of run out of rubber bands, so I've actually had to tape it together. It has got some nice little strengtheners inside the body to hold it together, and it probably needs that because the fit is not that good. Slightly warped, slightly out of shape, and has this silly arrangement where the bow piece is separate, so that's kind of fitted on there. It's very annoying. If you glued it, it probably comes up fine. Now measuring them, because that's the thing, you've got about 1/2 metre here for the Trireme, right, from Zvezda. And that's including, it'll have, which I haven't put on, the little ram at the front there. When you get to the Bireme, the Imperator, that's about 440. So yeah, so 440 millimeters, not 500, as per the Trireme. So it's not a lot smaller. It's not a lot smaller. The scale is not a lot different. Slightly smaller scale, but it's really not a lot different. And then you get down to the smallest one, which is the largest scale. And actually that's a respectable size of about 380. So yeah, whoops. Everything's just dry fit and all very wobbly. So really, the three of these together are going to look mighty. What sets them off though is the Penteconter, right, will only have a single row and it looks small. The Bireme looks far more impressive. It's a much, bigger and important ship. So there's my dry fit on the Bireme, and it's a good sized ship. It really is. You can imagine that with all of its oars and its sails and masts, it's going to look really impressive. So it's quite good. Fit is typical Heller, I'm afraid. There's I could not get the bottom of the hull to actually join together. I probably will fall apart if I tip it over. There's a big, huge 1/2 centimetre gap at the keel, because basically if I tied the keel up, then your top sections here pull apart. So there is some bowing and some problems there. It's going to need some serious rubber banding and some serious gluing overnight to get that hull to stay together. The plastic is quite hard and brittle, but that's okay. That makes it nice to work with, so that's not too bad. And again, good size. The details will look good. You can even see there with the light on it now how that eye is showing up. There's a decal that goes over that eye, so it shows you that's where the eye is to go. This guy is just, I've only done it to the waterline because it's so big and gangly, and I ran out of rubber bands. Yeah, I haven't unpacked everything yet. But you can see it's going to be a very impressive build, and I've seen these built up. They look fantastic, and 1/2 metre long is a good size, is a really good size. May even be a slightly longer with the bowsprit, not sure. But yeah, it's a bit fiddly in the construction. The deck's made of 3 pieces, and they don't quite fit together well. And as I said, it's all very soft and a bit bent. Yeah, some serious gluing required here as well. The Penteconter is probably the pick of the 3, really. It's got just enough detail to be interesting. The size is good. The fit is a lot better. I mean, that's holding together only with basically, well, the hull has already been glued, so all right. It's got a slight advantage. But I have no rubber bands or anything on that. That is completely dry fit. So, you know, we can completely demolish this. And it just basically comes apart. Everything was a very good fit. So there you go. So, you know. And that's, again, that's basically the size. But 440 is a reasonable size in millimetres. Is a reasonable size. And that makes for a nice model. This would be the first one I'd build out of the 3. Because, well, I've already started the hull, of course. So, yeah. I think with all of them, the advantage is get the hull glued up and set and straight, because this one is dry fitting nicely, and it's probably because that hull is glued. If I was just rubber banding this, it may be a whole different kettle of fish. But look, it's a nice model. It really is. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. So there you go, collection of bits. There's not a lot in these in the build, but that's okay. I don't mind that for what they are. There's quite a bit of fiddling involved so that it all fits together. That I enjoy. There's a little bit of scratching we can do, not much needed. They all really come with their blocks, their tackles. You know, this one did not come with a cordage. The other 2 had cordage, but that's okay. Cordage is expensive or hard to find. So look, you can basically produce a nice model out of these kits. And if my little one, right, is anything to go by, this is at least twice the size of that. It should be really nice. So there you go. If you're interested in one of these ancient sort of Greek and Roman warships, then there's 3 choices from 3 different manufacturers. You want something really big and impressive? Of course, the Zvezda Trireme is going to look the best, but it seems to be the worst fitting one. Well, you know, I won't know until I fully build it, but I have heard it doesn't go together very well and it requires a lot of work. But that's okay. You'll end up with something really big and mighty when you're finished. And again, whether you use the plastic sails or the you make some cloth sails, who knows? Have a look at my review. The Heller kit, well, it is mighty. Again, something very impressive. The fit, well, we won't know until we actually get the warp out of that hull and see if we can get that all to fit together properly. But there's a lot of detail, and it's a Heller kit with a bit of tender care and attention and a few swear words. It should come together well. The IMAI kit, though, it seems at the moment to fit together well. I don't remember having too much of a problem fitting together the lower hull when I did that originally. It was just that it was broken in transit. So I just remember putting that all together, and it was just a matter of lining things up and, you know, making sure that they all fit. So I think this would be the easiest kit to build, and it's very nice. It's a great representation of the period. Heller kit will be my second choice. It's got more detail, got a few more problems, but it will be quite an impressive build. But if you really want something that's going to blow everyone away, and you want something to go into competition, then the Trireme's a go. But you will have to be patient. You have to put a lot of work into it, but they do come up well. They really do. All right, well, that's it. That is my look at these Greek Roman sort of warships, and I love them. I really do. And I hope you enjoyed that as well. All right. It's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.